Hello guys, welcome back to my channel Gravity Tech. This is third video on the C programming. In today's video, we will continue from the point where we left in the previous video. So if you haven't watched the earlier videos, then I would recommend you to go through those videos, which will help you to understand more insights of C. Let's go to the next slide to look at what is the agenda of this session, this video. So the agenda of this video is going to be the keywords in detail, variables in more detail. Even more details are going to follow in the next video. Basic C program structure, quick introduction about what data types are, and then the next session topics. So what are the keywords? Keywords are basically the predefined or the reserved words in the C program. जैसे कि रेगुलर लैंग्वेज में कुछ वर्ड्स है जिसका एक मीनिंग होता है, लाइक ताजमहल. आप किसी का नाम ताजमहल नहीं रख सकते, as it is a reserved word in the regular language. Like that, C has a reserved word. Those are called as the keywords. So every keyword performs a specific action in a program. Keywords cannot be used as a variable names. As I mentioned, keywords have a fixed meaning and that meaning cannot be changed. Keywords are the basic building blocks of the C program. All the keywords must be written in a lowercase. These are all the this is all about the keywords. Okay, now let's look at what are the keywords available in the C. So C language supports in total 32 keywords which are listed here, and most commonly used are like int, float, char, double, void, if, else, for, do, break, continue, size of, etc. Okay, now let's look at what is a variable. So this slide tells more about the variable. You can just think of a variable as one type of container where we can store some element. कंटेनर मींस एक स्पेस जहां हम पर्टिकुलर टाइप का एलिमेंट रख सकते हैं. जैसे कि लैपटॉप सैग इज अ कंटेनर वेयर यू वी कीप लैपटॉप. मिल्क पॉट इज अ कंटेनर वेयर वी स्टोर मिल्क. कार पार्किंग इज अ कंटेनर वेयर वी कीप कार, एक्सेट्रा. तो सिमिलरली हर एक वेरिएबल के लिए मेमोरी एक पर्टिकुलर स्पेस, मेमोरी में एक पर्टिकुलर स्पेस दिया जाता है बेस्ड ऑन इट्स एलिमेंट टाइप. अगर इंटीजर स्टोर करना है तो उसका साइज है 4 बाइट, डबल स्टोर करना है तो 8 बाइट्स, एंड सो ऑन. सो इन दिस स्लाइड, age is a variable. That is what the name given to the container in a memory, which will store the element of type integer, and the value will be 21. Now, this is another version of the last slide. So when program is executed in a memory, when program is executed, a memory is allocated in a RAM for that variable, depending on what type of the variable it is. So when you write int age is equal to 21 and semicolon, that means age is a variable of type integer. Mean program will reserve 4 bytes of memory and name that memory location as a age. And in that reserved memory, only integers can be stored. Since size of the reserved memory is 4 bytes only, it will allow only certain range of integers values to be stored, right? Because you cannot basically uh, store more elements than its capacity, right? That will be overflowed. There are some rules how we can name the C variable. So variable names can be a combination of alphabets, digits, and underscores. But again, there is one clause. Variable name cannot start with the digit. No special characters are allowed in a variable name. Remember, variable names are case sensitive. If you're writing a variable name in a capital and lowercase, those two are different. So hope this basically helps. Okay. Now we have already covered all these points in the previous slide. So just keeping this for your reference here. Variable name is given to a storage area that program manipulates. Each variable in C has a specific type which determines the size and the layout of the variable's memory, the range of the values allowed in that memory location, the set of the operations that can be performed on that variable. Only characters allowed in the variable name are alphabets, digits, and underscores. Variable names cannot start with the digits. Variable names are the case sensitive. Okay. Now, Let's look at what is the basic C program structure. So this is how the basic C program structure looks like, where some of the compulsory or mandatory sections and some are optional. So very first section is the documentation section, which is optional but suggested, which is going to help users to understand what program does or what exactly the program functions. The next section is a link section, which is compulsory, where we add all the required header files, and linker then links the corresponding libraries when the linker phase comes. Then the next section is the definition section, which is also optional, where we define some global variables as well as some we define some preprocessor macros. The next section is like declaration section, which is also optional, where we declare all the objects which are used throughout the C program, like functions, structures. Okay. Then there is a main function, which is compulsory one, the mandatory one. If you do not have the main function in your C program will not be executed. It will not at all run. So remember, every C program execution starts with the main function. It has to have a main function. Subsection, it follows with a subsection, which is also optional, where we define the additional functions if required. Let's say now if you are writing a program to for the calculator, right? Now in calculator there are different operations you are going to perform on the numbers. So you might define functions to perform all those operations, right? Add a function for the addition, subtract function for the subtraction, and all, right? So subsection is basically optional. Few people may not prefer to write separate functions, and they will basically put on everything into the main function, right? So that is completely optional. Okay, so let's look at example in the next slide. So here is a simple C program which calculates the perimeter of the circle. We know that the formula to find the perimeter of circle is 2 pi r, where r is the radius of the circle and pi is a constant with the value 3.14 or 22 by 7. If if you look at the program, first section is the documentation section, which gives reader or executor an idea about what this program does, right? Then it basically followed by the link session, where we have added one header file stdio.h, in which printf, scanf, these functions are declared, not defined, right? Defined are those are defined with some libraries. So that is what the link section is. The definition section, where we have defined one macro, preprocessor macro, for the value of pi. As we know, the value of pi is not going to change throughout the program. One additional function is written in this program at the end of this program, below main function, right? But the compiler has to know what exactly it is. So that's what we have declared in a prototype section. Then starts the mandatory function main, which does all the magic. Okay. And at the last, the function perimeter is what basically calculates the perimeter of the circle. We will have the hands-on exercise once we complete all these basic topics. So don't worry if you do not understand some of the lines. For now, only remember the structure of a C program. Okay. So the next part is our data types in a C language. Now, what are the data types in a C language? Let's first look at the data type concept. Okay. So every data has its type. Okay. Data can be anything. Like the population data can have a type as a male, female, and others. Percentage marks, which can be decimal numbers. Building names, which can be a single characters. Roll numbers, which can be natural numbers, etc. Like that, in a computer science, every data is categorized into different types, and every data has its own type defined, right? And which basically helps program to allocate that much memory into the RAM for that data. So what are the data types in C language? So in C language, data types are categorized into four types. Primary data type, which are integer, float, character. Enumerated data type, that is enum. No data type, that is void. And derived data types from, so some of the data types which we need to derive from the primary, enumerated, and the none, those are actually categorized into array, pointer, structures, and union. We will look more about the data types in next video. So that's all I had in this video. Next video we will have more details on variables in depth, primary data types, what are the format specifier, and the live examples, live coding examples, where we will look at how all those stuff, right? So that's all I had. Thank you for watching this video. Uh, Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share if you haven't done so. I wish you happy learning. Thank you.